Assalam Allah. Peace to the gods, peace to the goddesses. I'm your brother in the struggle for peace, truth, freedom, justice, and equality, Brother Minister Alif Allah. And I'm just sitting here in the office, family, and I was just chilling. And, I like to just go into the archives and just reread that old, original, divine, and direct literature directly from Messenger Elijah Muhammad. So I was just looking through this theology of time, looking through this message to the black man, our Savior has arrived. And I was like, the Lamb, whew, he gave us so many Jews. He gave us all the tools we need to build a nation of our own. He gave us everything that was necessary to reclaim our own, to take back the planet Earth. But what did we do? We squandered this divine information, this knowledge, wisdom. We let Dr. Yakub's law of divide and conquer sabotage our spiritual inheritance. Family, we got to get back on track. I'm going to do my part. Part of that is making sure that we share with you the original divine and direct teachings of Messenger Elijah Muhammad. We contend with all of the spooky doctrines that's creeping out in the Nation of Islam. We make sure that you realize that those pseudoscientists out there that got you thinking that just because they're hip or they got money or they got views and likes and numbers and the pump and glitter of the devil's world, that means they have the truth. Nah. Truth is hated in the devil's world. It's ostracized. And, there's what the messenger called persecution of the righteous, protection of the faithful. We have to separate the pretenders from the defenders. So, we could take other means and methods, but we got to be patient with our people, considerate of our people. One of the things that, as a minister, and I've been a minister for the past 40 years, and I've always been real careful about sharing the life-giving teachings of Elijah Muhammad in a mythology or in a way that doesn't allow Satan or the 10% to allow our enemies to cause the righteous people to argue, fight, and kill each other. You have to be careful of that. That's a real dangerous probability. So it takes supreme mathematics to navigate through hell to get the people back to heaven. To destroy the image of that mystery God and to wake the people back up to the true and living God. And you gotta be careful, family. It's like, the devil is real cunning. He's real slick. Real deceptive and subtle. You know how to use that technology real good. And, you can't have the gods fighting the gods, the goddesses fighting the goddesses. See, that's how they tricked us. That's how they had African tribes warring with each other. All around the earth, Chinese fighting Chinese, Indians fighting Indians, Australians fighting Australians, Jamaicans fighting Jamaicans, people in North, Central, South America fighting, killing, and destroying each other to the joy of the devils. So we're going to reflect on something. I'm going to echo to you some of the life-giving teachings of Elijah Muhammad in his last book titled Our Savior Has Arrived. Okay? This chapter is titled The Black Man. Now, This is the actual chapter, The Black Man. You know what I mean? It's a important chapter. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to first just read the chapter for you. You know what I mean? So that you just get the knowledge. You know what I mean? You know, you can make your own wisdom known. You know what I mean? You can elaborate on it. You can give understanding down the line or whatever through your experiences. But you first have to get that knowledge. See, we're born in belief. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, we got to take it on face value at first. But then we grow in faith. Then we grow in the actual knowledge of self. Then we grow in wisdom. We start being able to teach this. Then we grow in the understanding of the maturity of it. We'll be able to apply it to our daily lives to establish peace of mind and contentment, money, good homes, friendships, in all walks of life, heaven on earth. So, this is chapter 19, The Black Man. According to the teachings to me of man's histories by Allah God, in the person of Master Fard Muhammad, praise is due to him forever. The great Mahdi and the Messiah that the world has been expecting to come for the last 2,000 years has come and is going about his work as has been predicted that he would do. He taught me for 3 years, night and day, on the histories of the two people, black and white. What he taught me verifies the teachings of the Bible and the Holy Quran, if rightly understood. Of the two people, black and white, he said that there was no birth record of the black man. Let me read that part again. He said, talking about Master Muhammad, he said that there was no birth record of the black man, and therefore none can say how old the black nation is. As far back as he said a record has been kept, it dates 76 trillion years. These years, 76 trillion, were divided into periods of 6 trillion years beyond 66 trillion years, which would make the said figure 76 be 78 instead of 76 trillion. I will not go into the finer details here. I hope to go into the details and an analysis of our Lord's, Master Fard Muhammad's teachings to me in a book entitled Black and White. Let's pause there for a moment. It's a lot there. It's the lamb just gives you so many vitamins and nutrients and minerals. I mean, everything that you need spiritually to sustain yourself. All right. First, he explains to us, he said that there was no birth record of the black man. And therefore, none can say how old the black nation is. All right. So, when we try to go backwards in time using European archaeologists, when we look at old scriptures, old texts, when we look at Islam and Catholicism, when we look at Judaism and Buddhism and Hinduism and ancient Kemetic spiritual systems and things of that nature there, all of that is the tip of the iceberg, family. The messenger gave us a number. Let's look at the math here. He said, as far back, he said a record has been kept. It dates 76 trillion years. Here the messenger teaches us that no one knows how old black civilization is, first of all. But we have actual records that date back to 76 trillion years ago. Wow. That's That's a long time, family. So let's look at that for a moment. We're saying there was no such thing as the Anunnaki. There was no such thing as Africa. There was no such thing as Kemet or Egypt. There was no such thing as Kush or Ethiopia. There was no such thing as Nubia or the Sudan. There was no such thing as Azania or South Africa or Becca, so-called Mecca in this day and time. The messenger teachers take us all the way back. He takes us way past the common era. He takes us back to 76 trillion years ago. What does this mean? This means that he's showing us like, yo, listen, I'm talking about a time before the original man put mountains on the earth. Before the 7 continents, Asia, Africa, North America, South America, Antarctica, Australia, and Europe, they didn't exist yet. All the land masses are still connected. How? Why? Because, let's look at this. He says, I'm going to quote him, as far back, he said, a record has been kept. It dates 76 trillion years. These years, 76 trillion, were divided. Remember, God adds and multiplies, divides and subtracts. Look at the math of this. He said they were divided, quote, into periods of 6 trillion years beyond 66 trillion years, which would make the said figure 76 be 78 instead of 76 trillion. I will not go into the finer details here. I hope to go into the finer details. He said, I hope, look at this, I hope to go into the finer details. Here, I hope to go into the details and an analysis of our Lord's Master Prophet Muhammad's teachings to me in a book entitled Black and White. Unfortunately, the messenger's hopes didn't come to pass. The messenger never got around to writing that book on black and white, the zebra book, if you will. You know what I mean? However, look at the beauty of the math that he did reveal. He said these years, 76 trillion, were divided into periods of 6 trillion years. You see, we got the flag of Islam, we had American flag, not on some spooky patriotic crap, but because we represent which one will survive the war of Armageddon. Slavery, suffering, death versus freedom, justice, and equality. Christianity or Islam? I mean, reality or fantasy? The black God or the devil? Which one is going to survive the war of Armageddon? Okay. So here the messenger tells us, as far back as he said, talking about Master Muhammad told him this, he said a record has been kept. What you mean a record has been kept? Master Muhammad explained to his messenger, he's like, listen, brother. He said that he studied in the secret vaults of Mecca. He said that underneath Becca, now known as Mecca, this is why you have such religious fanatics when it comes to certain ancient religious relics like the Kaaba, the Ka and the Ba. I mean, you're talking nothing but dimensions of the black man's mind. You got 7 dimensions: the physical, the emotional, the mental, the spiritual, the soul, the self, and the will. All right. Now think about it: the physical, the emotional, the mental, the spiritual, the soul, the self, the will. The highest plane of God is the will. The lowest vibration of the will is the physical plane. So from the will and from the thought or the mental of mind, you can lower that vibration, and in your desire, in your emotional plane, love, hate, desire, you can spark the physical atoms of creation. And those atoms, if you take one of those atoms and you break it open, what's in that atom? Smaller atoms, baby atoms. What's in the proton? Positrons. Crack open the positron. What's in the positron? You'll go all the way down to the tiny little seed, a tiny, what they call a quark. You'd be like, okay, we're in quantum physics. And in this realm, what if we crack one of those little baby atoms open? What do we find? Pure energy. We understand our pure energy. What if they be like, you be there forever? Because there's no limit to the black man's mind. So what we have to do is set our own motion, or set our own clock in motion. We make time. So we say, okay, listen, we're going to go back to 76 trillion years ago. But the messenger said what? Actually, in reality, mathematically, which is Islam, Islam is mathematics and mathematics is Islam. The messenger teaches us that Master Muhammad said that we actually recorded our history in periods or cycles of 6 trillion years beyond 66 trillion years ago. 66 trillion years? Why did he say 66 trillion years ago? It's in the flag of Islam, 1974, the same year that Al-Sayr Zaraf came out. He explained to us 66 trillion years ago is when our moon was made. Okay, let's add 6 trillion years to that moon. What's 66 plus 6? 66 plus 6 is 72. Okay, 66 trillion plus 6 trillion equals 72 trillion years ago. What happened 72 trillion years ago? 72 trillion years ago, we didn't have no stars in our universe, family. Our universe was not covering 230 continuous 640 quadrillion miles. Alpha Centauri was not the closest star yet. That star cluster, it wasn't even there yet. See? Islam is mathematics, and mathematics is Islam. So, 66 trillion years plus 6 trillion years bring us to the star. The star. In Arabic, it's called Najm. It's a whole chapter in the Quran called the star, Najm. There's a whole chapter in the Quran called Al-Qamar, or Badr, the moon. There's a whole chapter in the Quran, chapter 90, the Surah 90 of the Quran is called Al-Shams, the sun, the moon, the stars. This is the mathematics. The message is telling us 66 trillion years ago, we made our moon. 6 trillion years before that, we produced the stars. The message says, and now says, arrived that the human beings, the black gods of the universe said, there be a light, there be a light, there, until they crowned the whole universe with stars. This is why you see the messenger wearing his Taj, which is the Arabic name for crown. You see? That crown is worn symbolically. Now, I mean, shout out to 19 Keys representing the crown. I mean, Crown Creations. It's a science there, family, if you understand it. You know what I mean? Meaning what? Meaning that you don't have to physically put on a crown, but if you do, cool. You know what I mean? You got your FY uniform, your MGT uniform, whatever. But that crown of creation, you see? That sun, that moon, that star, that freedom, that justice, equality, that mathematics is your spiritual inheritance by nature. So 6 trillion years between that moon and that star. 66 trillion years ago, that crescent, the crescent on the right side represents the new moon. 6 trillion years later, 6 trillion years before that brings us to what? 72 trillion. 72 trillion is what? The age of the star. 72 trillion years ago. Look at the star. Notice it's 5 points. How far is this point from this point? From here to here is exactly, scientifically, mathematically, 72 degrees. Why is that relevant? Because 5 times 72 equals what? 360 degrees. What is the point from this crescent tip to this crescent tip? It ain't symbolic. It's exactly 180 degrees. It represents what? Al-Jadi Islam, the new Islam. That's the new moon, family. It takes, the message teaches us what? Arik Islam, the old Islam, is going to oppose the new Islam. What is that old Islam mathematics? The old Islam, this flag is 100% the exact same flag as the Turkish flag, except that moon is on this side, representing the last quarter of the moon, the old Islam, the Orthodox Islam, the Sunni Islam, the Shia Islam. You see? The Ansari Islam. There's over 70 different ancient sects of Islam. But that old Islam has what? 180 degrees. From this point of the old Islam to this point of the old Islam is not symbolic. It's exactly 180 degrees. Why is this relevant, Brother Minister Ali for Law? Because 180 degrees plus 180 degrees equals what? 360 degrees. Let's look at this all red background. Our sun, Al-Shams, as the 90th surah of the Holy Quran calls it. Now, I mean, that sun, 93 million miles away from the planet Earth, 2,679,785 miles in her circumference, or his circumference, representing the woman or the man, and message to the black man, as well as the flag of Islam. You see, it's a symbol, but that symbol gives us substance, because this sun has what? 4 points. What is 1 point on this flag? That's exactly 90 degrees. 90 degrees, family. 90 degrees times 4 equals what? 360 degrees. In conclusion, 180 and 180, 360 degrees. 5 points on our star, the distance between each one of the points on our star representing justice. 5 times 72, 360 degrees. The all red sun representing freedom. Each point, 90 degrees. 4 times 90 equals what? 360 degrees. We build in the cipher, on the cipher. Ask the cipher, family. Let us take a look at this. I'll say as a Robert. I just want to recap this one last time. He said that there was no birth record of the black man, and therefore none can say how old the black nation is. As far back as he said, a record has been kept. It dates 76 trillion years. These years, 76 trillion, were divided into periods of 6 trillion years beyond 66 trillion years, which will make the said figure 76 be 78. Did y'all get that? The message is saying, basically, the black man was on Earth. The original man, the first man on this planet was here 76 trillion years ago. But he didn't calculate it to then, because in science and astronomy and mathematics, the Earth came from the sun. See, the Earth is 108 times smaller than our sun, which is 93 million miles away from the planet Earth, or 150 million kilometers away from the planet Earth. Its light travels 186,000 miles per second. Therefore, since the sun is 93 million miles away and light travels 186,000 miles per second, it takes that sun photon or rod of light exactly 8 minutes and 20 seconds, which is 500 seconds. Look at the math. If you've got 60 seconds in a minute, that sun takes 8 minutes and 20 seconds to reach us. So if it takes 8 minutes and 20 seconds to reach us, that's 500 seconds. That gives us a mathematics that sun is 93 million miles away from the planet Earth, 14,072 degrees hot on this surface. Okay, so the messenger is calculating that 76, saying, quote, he said, these years, 76 trillion, were divided into periods of 6 trillion years beyond 66 trillion years, which would make the said figure 76 be 78 instead of 76 trillion. All praises due to Allah came the person Master Muhammad, the supreme Allah. You know what I mean? No one ever taught us this type of high advanced mathematics and science and reality. You know what I mean? So here the Lamb is showing us that back then, 78 trillion years ago, you have this huge, you could say, like a natural reactor. It's made of atoms of hydrogen and helium. It got some carbon in there. Now, I mean, it got iron in there. But here it is, a piece of that sun spews out. And here you got this little fiery, tiny ball. It's 108 times smaller than that big sun over there. Now, that big sun over there is tiny compared to many of the stars out there. But here it is, everything in the universe is in motion. You know what I mean? The message teaches us that Islam is mathematics, family. It's not that the earth is rotating on her axis 1,037 1/3 miles per hour, and she's tilted 23.5 degrees to the plane of her orbit, which gives us 23 hours, 56 minutes, and 46 seconds in the solar day, and 365 days, 5 hours, 48 minutes, and 46 seconds in the solar year. But the sun is moving, the moon is moving, the atoms are moving, your thoughts are traveling, light is traveling. Everything in the universe is in motion, family. Everything, every comet, every asteroid, every meteorite, every moon, every idea, whatever. Every cell in your body is in motion. Your blood is in motion, family. See what I'm saying? Sound waves are in motion, family. Everything in the universe is under the mathematical law of what our ancestors call the law of vibration. Everything is vibrating. Nothing is at rest. You can't, the atom is vibrating. If you see an atom deep in triple darkness out in space, you'd be like, damn, it's in motion. It's everything. That's just the reality of the universe. Living or dead is still vibrating. It's transforming. You see? It's nothing spooky. There's no ghost coming out of nothing. I mean, but you know, it's like when we physically die, our bones are going to turn back to calcium and stone. You know, our flesh is going to turn right back to vegetation. Our blood going to become water once again. The iron that's in our body go right back into the earth, and it become part and one and parcel with the whole universe. The universe is alive, family, because we're alive. The universe is dead, family, because we're dead. This is the law of polarity, family. This is the law of cause and effect, actions and reactions. This is the mathematical laws that govern every atom of creation. And those atoms are from that creative mind, that creative idea, that alcoholic, that one God, that one creator that's known by countless names under countless religions. 99.99% of these so-called organized religions, we don't even know their names no more. I ain't talking about just Hinduism and Buddhism and Taoism and Catholicism, Judaism and Islam. I'm saying, according to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the black man searched for that mystery God for 66 trillion years. Meaning these modern day organized religions, they wasn't even a thought. We're talking billions and billions and billions of fake religions that we done experienced on the face of the planet Earth in the past 76 trillion years. Billions of them, family. Know what I mean? So here in the chapter 19, the black man in Outstairs arrived on February 26, 1974. The message teaches us, as far back as he said, talking about Master Muhammad, a record has been kept. It dates 76 trillion years. These years, 76 trillion, were divided into periods of 6 trillion years beyond 66 trillion years, which would make the said figure 76 be 78 instead of 76 trillion. I will not go into the finer details. See, I hope to go into the details and an analysis of our Lord's Master Fard Muhammad's teachings to me in a book entitled Black and White. He goes on. Allah, in the person of Master Fard Muhammad, to whom praises are due forever, taught me that there are not any gods who live forever. There are no black men that physically live forever. I mean, none whatsoever. I mean, some may live 100 years, 200 years, 500 years, on average up to 1,000 years. I mean, unlike the Martians, they could live 1,200 years. But the original man, max, is on average. I don't mean that some didn't live a little over 1,000 years, but they was like, yeah, this is boring. I mean, the message said that the scientists would be like, they start eating 3 meals a day. They were like, man, I know it all. I seen it all. Been there, done that. I mean, it's like, okay, let somebody else come in. You see? So they're not, spooky. They're not selfish. They deal with logic. They deal with a higher realm of reality. They understand that life is not what you think. You just look at life as just in a physical form. I mean, you look at life as like it's some spooky, magical ghost, Holy Ghost in your body, and this white ghost going to come float out your mouth when you die, and it's going to mysteriously go up beyond the nimbus clouds and the stratus clouds and the cumulus clouds and the cirrus clouds, and it's going to see this other whites. It's always white stuff, but it's going to be this bright white light, and you're going to see this big, giant, huge white God sitting on a giant white throne, and this giant white God is going to have this long white robe on, probably got a big white beard, and of course, going to have the white angels with the white feathers and all this white supremacy. The devil's trick now to be like, and this is not no hatred towards the white Muslims of faith or those white people that strive for peace, truth, freedom, justice, equality. This is the reality of the world we live in. The devil been ruling for the past 6,000 years, not on his own volition, because we wrote that we needed him to do that. We had to bring that weak gene, that weak idea, that brown germ out of the black man, out of the God. Be like, what? The devil came out of God. Black women gave birth to white babies. It's not racism, family. It's not hatred. I mean, it's reality. You see, we want to take other than reality. A lot of people think they can improve on reality. They can improve on the laws of mathematics. Nah. I mean, not logical. See what I'm saying? Not realistic. Not in a practical sense. It's just simply we have negative forces. We have electrons. We have protons. We have sharks that happen to be devils to the tuna. I mean, it's like you're not going to see the little fish eating the whale, but you're going to see the whale eating up all these little fish. That's what they was create. That's what they do. Now, I mean, the chicken hawk, they like, you see that falcon, you see that eagle snatch up that little mouse. It's like, it ain't personal, it ain't hatred. It's like, yo, I was created an eagle. Like, the owl's like, I was made to rip this little mouse, this little cute rodent. I was born to rip it apart and eat it so that I can stay on the earth. This is what now if you try to integrate the, God made us all creatures, let us love each other and just sing kumbaya. Spooky. I mean, black ants will rumble red ants. They ain't got nothing to do with white ants. But you drop some albino white ants inside of a black ant colony, instant war. Instant war. I mean, when they see them, wait, that's the opposite attract, like repels. See? So this is the nature of things. I mean, like dogs and cats, just like we don't by nature, like you can brainwash us, you can program us. If you make a dog into a mutt and turn a dog. Yeah, I ain't talking about a real dog. I'm talking about, a natural dog, a natural canine, like it's a wolf. I mean, you're not going to see people walking around with a wolf on a leash. I mean, like, yeah, this is my little pet right here. I mean, pat him on his head. You be like, Dad, did you just pat him on his head? Yeah, what did he do? He just took my hand off. Why? He's not a pet. He's not a slave. See, a lot of y'all out there love enslaving these animals. Y'all call them pets. It's so cute. Oh, look at my little dog. He's a slave. He's in jail. Oh, look at my little kitty. It's a house cat. It's a slave. You put a fish that's supposed to swim freely in a little Chinese tank. You put the bird in a bird that's supposed to fly free. You put the parrot or the bird, the parakeet, in a cage. You have the mindset of the devil. You have the brain of a colonizer, an imperialist, a slave maker of the poor. That's the teachings of the 10%. The rich, the slave makers of the poor who teach lies. Now, you done enslaved so many millions and billions of animals that they're in a situation that you can't even free them now. Not at this day and time. If everybody took all their pets and they freed the birds and freed the cats and freed the dogs and put the fish back, took the turtles and let them go, stop hand feeding the snakes and put the snakes back in there, they wouldn't even know how to survive. You have a bunch of dead animals all over the planet Earth. The natural dogs and they be like, yo, where did these house slaves come from? Yo, where did they? It's like putting inmates around prisoners. They're not going to survive, family. They're gonna be nah. I mean, so this is the world that we're temporarily living in. But the Bible teaches us in the book of Isaiah that there's going to come a time where you could literally take a baby and the serpent won't even bite it. The bee won't even sting it. You see? Because in its natural state, we get we get that balance. We get that freedom, justice, and equality. The sun representing freedom, the star representing justice, the moon represents equality. Now we got peace. You see? We have peace. Now, in Our Sayers Arrive, in this chapter, the message goes on to say, Allah in the person of Master Fard Muhammad, to whom praises are due forever, taught me that there are not any gods who live forever, that wisdom and work may live 6,000 or 25,000 years, but the actual individual may have died within 100 or 200 years, or the longest that we have a record of, around 1,000 years. So when you read your Bible, you hear Methuselah, they lived to be over 900. So that's possible. We live in a world of corruption and pollution and toxins and, extreme grafted things, when I'm not looking to live 1,000 years in this world. It's too poison. The Holy Quran says this: corruption has appeared on the land and the sea on account of what mankind's hands have wrought. It's just global pollution, global poisoning, not just the physical world, but the psychological world, the spiritual world, the mental world. We got so many negative ideas, spooky concepts and practices that is just, this is not the time. But that don't mean that in the future, those things will not come to pass. The messenger goes on to say, quote, there is no God living who was here in the creation of the universe, but they produce gods from them, and their wisdom lives in us. Let me read that one more time. There is no God who was here in the creation of the universe, but they produce gods from them, and that wisdom lives in us. Think that over for a moment. Let's go back. Using the principle of the messenger, 6 trillion years beyond 66 trillion years. Go 6 trillion years, 66 trillion years. Let's take 6 trillion years, add to that. 72 trillion years bring us to our star. Let's take 6 trillion years. Let's take 6 trillion. Let's go back to the app. Let's take 6 trillion. Let's go all the way back. I mean, beyond the atoms, we going back 114 trillion years, 114 degrees, 114 surahs, 114 chapters of the Holy Quran. Let's take it back to day -1, when the black mind sparked that first atom of motion. All right. So at that time, there were no physical human beings. The black man in that day and time was not a physical man. There was no 2 arms, 2 legs, and a head. There were no 2 eyes, 2 nares, a mouth, 2 ears. Like Allah teaches us, the black man has 9 holes, the black woman has 10. I mean, you got your urinary tract, your anus and so forth. It was none of that kind of stuff. We didn't have that. We didn't need that. Now, I mean, not in that form, not in that stage of our spiritual manifestation. Now, I mean, not in that form, but that energy, that determined idea, that causation was still there. And mathematically, the original man experimented with his universe, and he sparked all this stuff, and he analyzed it. And mathematically, through stages and degrees, he manifested and came in the person. That's the Sakin. The Arabic name for person is Sakin. Allah Sakin. God came in person. Master Fard Muhammad. In fact, let me read something separate for you real quick if I can find it. Let me see. I think it's page 144 of Our Sayers Arrived. Let me see something here. The messenger teaches us this. Yeah, here we go, right here. You see my book, I've read it 1,000 times. All right, the message teaches us, quote, "This is the first time that a law of God has been known in person." You see, this is the first time a law has been known in person. I mean, see, you got to understand, 66 trillion years ago, we hid the reality of God. When I say we, I mean our ancestors, 24 scientists, 12 majors and 12 minors. They was like, yo, we cannot have these black gods trying to blow up the earth. I mean, like you can't like it's 2024 in this day and time. You can't just let a foolish president just like, okay, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set up I'm gonna send a drone over here to the side of this mountain in Hawaii, and I'm gonna blow up this volcano and let this hot magma come down and burn up the villages. Now, I mean, that's man's ability. Easy. One man can easily do that kind of stuff. One man can easily do the mathematics of this universe. You see what I'm saying? But when you're talking God wisdom, is real dangerous when you have the power and especially the knowledge and the science and the determined idea to use nature, rain, hail, snow, earthquakes, tsunamis, floods, to take and cause chaos and destruction on the planet Earth. So they like, yo, we got too many billion people on Earth with that type of potential. They wake up to that, yo, we gonna have some problems. You know what I mean? So the 24 scientists, they took and got together and took counsels like, all right, look, this how we're going to hide the reality of God. They're like, okay, where are we going to hide it? At the bottom of the ocean, in the Marina Trench, the deepest part, up on Mount Everest, 29,141 feet high. You know what I mean? You're going to send it to a distant planet. We're going to put it inside of an atom. Like, nah, we're going to hide the reality of God in God. What you mean? We're going to put the reality of God in the subconsciousness of the human family. They're not going to know that they're God. They're going to think that they're servants of God, that they're Abdullahs. I mean, they're not going to realize that they're one with the universe. And anything they put their mind to, they can actually do. You see? But that's dangerous if you're thinking from that vibration of the electron or the negative state. You see? So you got to be like, we got to have balance. We got to have responsibility. So the 24 scientists 66 trillion years ago, that's how they was moving. Prior to 66 trillion years ago, we didn't have 24 scientists. You see? The message teaches us prior to 24 scientists or 66 trillion years ago, the earth didn't have a diameter of 7,960. We had a different math. We had what the Quran calls an abrogation. Allah changes the mathematics sometimes. Now, I mean, so you're reading the Quran, Allah says, I mean, it's all right to drink a little wine. Just don't come to your prayers with a befogged mind or drunk. They're like, nah, don't even drink. You know what I mean? Because y'all don't know how to act. See what I'm saying? So there's a science there. You know what I mean? So 66 trillion years ago, the Earth's circumference was actually 35,000 and not 25,000 miles. Once it was 25,000 miles, our lesson, Lost Found Miles, lesson number 2, February 20th, 1934, teaches us what? Master Muhammad asked the question, who made the Holy Quran or Bible? How long ago? Will you tell us why Islam knew history every 25,000 years? And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad answered, the Holy Quran or Bible is made by the original people. Who is Allah? See? There is no mystery God. So here we have a science here. Who made the Holy Quran or Bible? How long ago? Will you tell us, talking about not just Master Muhammad, but the 24 science, will you tell us, I mean, all of them, Master Muhammad's father and his uncles, I mean, Master Muhammad is talking to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad on February 20th, 1934, and he's breaking down to him. He's like, who made the Holy Quran or Bible? How long ago? Will you tell us why Islam knew history every 25,000 years? And the messenger explained to him, the Holy Quran or Bible is made by the original people. Who is Allah? The supreme being or black man of Asia. The Quran will expire in the year 9,980 years from the date of this writing. The nation of Islam is all wise. It does everything right and exact. You see? So here we have a year to every mile, 25,000 miles. But 66 trillion years ago, that lesson didn't exist. 66 trillion years ago, that lesson wasn't even relevant because it wasn't 25,000 miles. There was no 24,896 miles in the circumference of the planet Earth. It wasn't until at 23.5 degrees the plane of its orbit. But once that moon blew up, boom, it knocked it off its axis to 23.5 degrees. Then it was part of that planet is broken off from the Earth. So now you got some land going all the way out here that we call Al-Qamar or Al-Badir, the moon. I mean, so here we got the moon 240,000 miles away from the planet Earth. So now we have a different math. At that time, that moon math was included with the Earth mass, which made it 35,000 miles. But today, in 2024, we now have a circumference of 25,000 miles. So we write a year to every mile. So now we write the history that lasts for 25,000 years. Now we have 24 scientists, or 12 major scientists and 12 minor scientists that do that. But Islam is mathematics, and mathematics is Islam. But when we go back 76 trillion years ago, there was no such thing as a tribe of Shabazz. There was no such thing as a tribe. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us in his first book, Our Savior Has Arrived, 1957. In his second book, Our Savior Has Arrived, 1957. He teaches us that today we have 12 tribes of Shabazz. But he said that we once had 13 tribes of Shabazz. Huh? We had 13 different tribes of Shabazz beyond this present 12 tribes of Shabazz that we have today. What happened to the 13th tribe? The messenger teaches us they all died because of a mistake. Because of the mistake of one of our scientists. It was a black man known as Granddaddy Shabazz, 66 trillion years. He thought erroneously his math was wrong, but he really thought he had this correct determined idea. It's in this book right here, Theology of Time. It's in Message to the Black Man. It's in here's Message to the Black Man. It's in Message to the Black Man. It's know what I mean? So I don't want to get ahead of myself here. I want to tell you where the messenger said it, when he said it. He said it in here in 1972. He said it in here in 1965. Look it up for yourself. Do the math. I can't keep doing your homework. You know what I mean? But the messenger teaches us that he thought that he could he can force or make everyone on earth speak the same dialect. You see what I'm saying? Not just the same language, but the same. He wanted us to sound the same. Like a person on Mount Everest where the air is thin, it's not going to sound like somebody in ancient Syria in the low valley. I mean, it's different. The problem book teaches us what? There's 3 cubic feet of air around our human bodies. We're not going to sound the same. You see what I'm saying? I'm not going to sound the same on this tape speaking to you in my office in the basement of my house if I go upstairs and go on the roof and start teaching. It's going to be a different dialect. It's degrees with Allah. Everything is mathematics in our universe. But this guy didn't understand that. He couldn't grasp that. Know what I mean? And because he felt as though that it was his way or the highway, he wanted to destroy everybody on earth. So he drilled the hole into the earth and filled it with high explosives and tried to blow the whole planet. He's going to just kill Allah. He's going to destroy the whole planet. But you can't kill Allah. You can't destroy Allah. Allah is the all-knowing. You can plan all you want. You can plot all you want. Allah's going to always win. You see? So he destroyed himself. He destroyed all those that was with him in that tribe that had that same foolish idea. You see? And the message teaches us that we have that moon up there as a sign or a symbol of our equality. Let's go back to this Al Says Arab. So the messenger says, there is no God living who is here in the creation of the universe, but they produce gods from them and their wisdom lives in us. So that physical original man 76 trillion years ago, he was asexual. So you got lizards, you got fish, you got worms, you got creatures on earth in 2024 that could get themselves pregnant. Not a man and a woman, not some homosexual stuff, but in nature, there are creatures that can procreate without a partner. Y'all ain't studying the sciences of life. Now, I mean, we'll get into that in another video. I'm going to show y'all some actual images, show you how that actually works mathematically. All right. Long story short, nature always looks for the most efficient and effective manner of sustaining life. That's just how the universe operates. So as time mathematically went on, the black man was like, okay, to make myself, it'd be way more efficient if I take and produce from man the womb of man, or a woman. And now that I have the woman, I'm going to procreate through the original woman. Okay? So now that God that's there 76 trillion years ago, I don't know how long he lived, but say he died, but now he has a son. He has a daughter. He has a son's son. He has grandsons and great-grandsons and great-great. Now the seed is multiplying. It's being fruitful. It's spreading throughout the earth. So now you have an efficient and an effective way of producing 8 billion people as we have it today. So from the original causation, you have all these manifestations. You see? From one fish being able to give birth to 100 eggs at one time. This is one fish that gave birth to 100 new fish. The 100 new fish gave birth to 100 new fish. So now you got an ocean full of fish. You got a sky full of birds. You got ants everywhere. You got zebras and elephants and tigers and lions and bears. Oh my, you see? Islam is mathematics. Mathematics is Islam. The messenger goes on to say, human beings are created according to the life of the universe, planets. Think that over. Human beings are created according to the life of the universe, planets. Think about that. Here's a little seed, a little atom. I mean, sparking in the triple darkness of the womb of space. Here's a little sperm cell sparking in the womb of the black woman. And mathematically, just like the universe, just like our solar system, just like our earth, just like our system that's on the outside is on the inside. So we have a planet that originally came from our sun. But that little piece of the sun is 108 times smaller. And it had to spin around in the darkness, in the freezing cold darkness of space, and eventually start cooling off. And as it cooled off, the heavy parts, the iron and all that, it fell to the core. And the light stuff started floating to the surface. And as it eventually cooled off, the coldness of the atmosphere, if I take and turn the heat all the way up in here and it's cold outside, or if it's snowing outside and I turn the heat all the way up inside this room, I'm going to see physical water falling down the window, condensation. So we produce an atmosphere and we produce rain, hail, snow, sleet, and earthquakes on this planet. And as this system is going through this for 2 trillion years, it eventually balanced out and formed 30% land, 157,255,000 square miles of land, 139,685,000 square miles of water, covering 196,940,000 square miles, which is our whole planet Earth, weighing 6 trillion tons. All praises due to Allah. Islam is mathematics. Mathematics, Islam. Study your lessons. Your lessons are your blessings, family. You see? So here we got the Earth. And 76 trillion years. Now remember this, the earth used to be part of the sun. Where's the sun in 2024? It's still here. Where? Inside the earth. You take this earth, cut it open, you break it open, and look at it. In the middle of the earth is the sun. You take this planet and you crack part of the land, and the sun, the fire that's in the earth, will come to the surface. Hot lava will come out. We call it magma. You see? In the black woman, there is the spark of God himself. So here we have the original man reproducing himself in harmony, as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, quote, human beings are created according to the life of the universe, planets. So here we have the earth, you see? We have the sun, and we have 9 planets. We have the man, and we have the woman, and we have the seed waiting 9 months. And as the Bible says, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth was without form and void, and darkness covered the face of the earth. Then the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. So life cannot exist unless there's water. The messenger said in the divine sayings, he said, in order for land to make its appearance, it must be made from water. You see? It's like this in 2024. You go out to the ocean and just look at it, observe it. That's science. The first law of nature is self-preservation. The first law of science is observation. All right? You analyze it. You look at it. And you see, like say Hawaii, for example. You see under the seas, under the water, the earth crack. And that hot lava, magma, comes up inside that water. The cold water turns hot. see steam start coming up. And as that hot lava gets in that cold water, turns what? Pitch black, carbon, ash. And it eventually gets layer upon layer till it gets higher than the water. And when we see this black mound coming up out of the water, we call it an outlet or an island. You see? It's nothing on there. There's no life. There's no vegetation. But as the years keep going and that sunlight keeps striking it, now you got organic and inorganic material. You got dead creatures coming up on here. You got birds eating strawberries and blueberries, and they flying over here and they pooping on this black rock. Now, when they poop in that poop is germinating this black carbon. So now this like, oh, blueberries is on the island, strawberries. You got coconuts over here now. You see? You got mangoes growing up over. You got insects and all these mathematical things happening, species coming about on this once dead piece of the planet Earth. You see? So here you have that seed in the darkness of the mother's womb, like the darkness of that atom in outer space. But after 9 planets or after 9 months, then the life comes through the water. After 9 months, what happens? The black woman's water breaks. Oh, now the light is made manifest of our sun, but what happens? That baby, for the first time in this manifestation, is coming out of darkness and is seeing this bright light. It's seeing the light of the world going into another stage. Now that comes out the mother. Like an apple on an apple tree, the stem connects the apple to the tree. The baby is connected to the mother by the umbilical cord. Shout out to Sister Sasha, the midwives of the world, that come in and help produce and manifest this beautiful natural part of our creation. So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad says, and I'll read it one last time for you, human beings are created according to the life of the universe, planets. He goes on, Master Fard Muhammad, to whom praises are due forever, taught me that the original designer and maker of the universe created it on time. And there is an end to it. Think about it. If you spark the universe and it's expanding, it's only in the distant time that it's going to eventually contract. See, anything that you make, you have to unmake. It's cause and effect. There's actions and reactions. It's the law of polarity, the law of vibration, family, the law of gender. Gender is in all things. The Kabbalion, the ancient teachers of our ancestors. Tahuti, not Thoth and some Anunnaki or some aliens from a distant planet. This was the teachings of the black man on the face of the planet Earth since the Earth was here, family. Okay. Scientists have learned by study that everything that we see, that we call universe, is not everlasting. It is gradually decaying. The Bible and the Holy Quran both verify this decay of the universe, and that one day a wiser God than them all will exist in a new universe. A new universe means that it will not be exactly like this one that we know. According to the hints of the Holy Quran, it will be a better one than we have. Naturally, after experimenting with a thing that has been made, we can improve on a new make of it. That's just human nature. I mean, like, if I took this microphone, and this microphone has all type of digital gadgets on it, but if you took a microphone from the 1930s and compared it to this microphone, you'd be like, yo, this microphone is definitely an improvement on those old mics from back in the day. This microphone definitely sounds 100,000 times better than them old mics back in the day. You see? The acoustics on it is way better. You see? Your car is not like the famous Model T Ford car. You don't have to go outside and crank your car to drive your car no more. You see, you don't have to use the old-fashioned systems, if you will, the old-fashioned airplanes, the old-fashioned guns. You ain't gonna see dudes wait right there pouring the powder into the joint and having a musket. I mean, they got automatics in 2024. You see, it's just the natural order of things. Now, I mean, so it is with the universe. At present, we can't look at the sun. If you look at the sun, it's going to physically blind God. God can't look at his own making. The sun is not created, it's made. According to NaaLInstituteInc, Muhammad, it's made from hydrogen. Anything that's made, it's not created. See? So we made the sun. You see, we made the moon. We made those stars. We made the mountains. Read your Holy Quran. It teaches what? We, not I. Not that or this or spook or spirit. It says we made the mountains. We made the stars, the Najm. See? It was reality, family. So the message teaches us that naturally we can improve on a thing once we have a make or a model of it. The black man's gods, according to the history he taught me, have all been the wisest. They made the white man after their order and wisdom accept the knowledge of how to bring into reality and perfection their vision, an idea of what they want to perceive equal to the black man's wisdom. This was kept back. They are forced to build their world on the basis of what they found in the wisdom of the black man. See, the white race is our children. They are our offspring. We made the white race. They come from people in this day out of Africa. We don't really agree with all that theory. But yes, it's true. From the black man, he produces 16 different shades of color. 4 shades of black, 4 shades of brown, 4 shades of yellow, 4 shades of red. He produces albinos. He produces white. The Asian produces the Caucasian or the dead Asian. Caucus means dead. Asia means world. You see? So we did not give the white man the information. It's not in his DNA. It's not in his genetic. We gave him a recessive gene. He's weak-blooded. His genetics is different. You see, his skin, he don't have 7 layers of skin. He don't have the melanin that we have in our skin. He don't have the dominant gene of the original man. Meaning what? If you take a black woman and she gets pregnant by a white man and then she get pregnant by a black man, or she first get pregnant by a black man and then she get pregnant by a white man, it don't make a difference. She's going to have 2 black babies because the black woman has the dominant gene of the black man. This ain't no hatred towards our white folks, but that's the nature or the reality of life. Like, blue eyes are recessive eyes. Blonde hair is recessive hair. There is no one on earth whose hair can defy gravity like a black woman's or black. Like our hair can grow like a tree. Everybody else hair falls towards the ground. And I'm just like, no, I can't do that. That's not how, it's not original hair. You see? So that nature, that natural reality, as the messenger put it inside Our Savior Has Arrived, he said that this was kept back. So this forces the white man in particular to build a world patterned after what he's seen the original man created. The white man has never created anything. He cannot create an atom, a bird, an ant, anything. But he can study what the black man created and look at our universe covering 640 quadrillion miles and say, okay, I see in the ocean, he created this well. I can make a submarine. He created this turtle. I can make an army tank. He created this bird. I can make an airplane. He can make things for war and destruction because the Bible teaches us that when God made Adam and Eve, he gave them the power to subdue the earth and to rule over the fish of the sea and the fowl of the air and everything that creep upon the face of the planet earth. The white man is the God of his own world. There is no mystery God over the white man. Anything he wants to produce, and our says around the message teaches us, if he look at the ocean and he wonder what's on the other side, he can eventually manifest a ship to get him on the other side. He can make him a rocket out of the rocks or the iron, and he can mix carbon and make it into steel, and he can produce a rocket that'll take him to the moon. The white man can go to the planet Jupiter if he wanted to. He can do anything in this universe that today may seem impossible 100 years ago to be easy for a white man to do it. You see? But there's one thing he could never do. He has never done it, and he could never, ever do it. And that is have a creative thought. He cannot think outside the cipher of the original Asiatic black man. Why? The answer of who is the original man has been answered by the supreme law God who came in the person of Master Fard Muhammad, to whom all praises are due forever. And he explained, ain't no more 24 scientists. Ain't no more 12 people not knowing and only 12 black men knowing the reality of God. Ain't no just the Pharaoh going to be the God. Ain't no Usar going to be the God and Set going to be the God and Heru going to be the God, or Osiris and Isis and Horus. No. Every time you look at the black man, you're going to look at God. Every time you look at the black woman, you're going to be looking at a goddess. Every time you look at the black child, you will be looking at a godling. We will be as we naturally were in the original form of day minus one, the God of the entire universe. Who is the original man? The original man is the Asiatic black man, the maker, the owner, the cream of the planet Earth, God of the universe. The messenger goes on to say, scientists have learned by study that everything we see that we call universe is not everlasting. It is gradually decaying. The Bible and the Holy Quran both verify this decay of the universe, and that one day a wiser God than them all will exist in a new universe. A new universe means that it will not be exactly like this one that we know. According to the hints of the Holy Quran, it will be a better one than we have. Naturally, after experimenting with a thing that has been made, we can improve on a new make of it. In his latter years, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad used to always wear his black fez, but then he changed it to a pure white fez. As I said earlier, right now in this stage, we can't even look at the sun. But we're going to have a new universe, family, wherein the book of Revelations teaches us in the Bible that there's going to be no need of a sun or a moon or a star. See? Because God and the Lamb or the messenger is going to be the light thereof. This entire universe that we look at that's dark is going to be light, pure white. The messengers start wearing a pure white fez, illuminating the entire universe symbolically. But in the far future, he teaches us in this book, Our Sayers Arrived in 1974, that our present sun that I said is 93 million miles away. He said that sun is going to burn out. It's 108 times larger than the earth. Now, if the sun burn out, people on earth will freeze to death and die. Not the gods and goddesses. We got too much knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. By that time, we would terraform the whole universe. I mean, we'd be like, oh, we could go live on the sun if we wanted to. I mean, so that ain't going to be no problem. It's not like we're going to be extinct. You cannot destroy the original people. Now, I mean, I'm just saying hypothetically. Hypothetically, say some kind of way you destroyed the entire earth, the entire universe. There's no sun, there's no moon, there's no stars, there's no ants, birds, nothing. What would happen? The black man's mind is simply bring it all back. You see? We're infinite, family. I mean, we give life, we give death if you understand the science. The messenger says, the black man's gods, according to the history he taught me, have all been the wisest. The messenger goes on to say, the black man's gods, according to the history he taught me, have all been the wisest. They made the white man after their order and wisdom accept the knowledge of how to bring into reality and perfection their vision and idea of what they want to perceive equal to the black man's wisdom. This was kept back. They are forced to build their world on the basis of what they found in the wisdom of the black man. The white man only made, formed, and put into service those things that met with the cravings and necessities of his people. The white man was given the power of vision and different ways of life to enable him to build an unalike world from what we have had throughout the millions, billions, and trillions of years. No God who is going to rule the people of earth universally, as the white man has ruled for the past 6,000 years, was to be given a history or knowledge of the God who ruled the people before him. This is in order to keep the present God from pattern after the former God and to force him to use his own wisdom in making a world and not a world patterning after previous wisdom of the gods before him. The white race did not get a chance to rule solely according to their wisdom because we were present, and they patterned much of their world after what they saw of the gods of the black man. This was due to the fact that the white race was made an enemy to the black man. Therefore, their time to deceive the black man was limited to a short span of 6,000 years that are used by the black gods to rule. The wisdom of each god, according to the law of God in the person of Master Fard Muhammad, to whom praises are due forever, taught me, has a cycle of 25,000 years. Once every 25,000 years, another god would be given a chance to show forth his wisdom to the people. This has been going on for many trillions of years, according to his teachings to me, at least since the deportation of moon and earth, according to the science of why we use a cycle of 25,000 years. This is compared to the circumference of our earth at the equator, which is approximately 25,000 miles. This is also compared with the rotation of our earth or the changes at the poles, which also makes a complete change once every 25,000 years. The white race is an unusual people, and their ideology is unusual. He has and was given the gift of a creative mind to allow him to use his own ideas. The black man, or gods, were put to sleep in order that the wisdom of the black man did not interfere with what the white man is made for, to rule us under wickedness, enslavement, deceit, murder, and death for 6,000 years. The black man, or gods of the black man, are infinitely wise. They are being aroused to their wisdom today. Think that over, family. They are being aroused to their wisdom today to rule the people again throughout the ages of time. The present gods, Master Fard Muhammad's wisdom, is infinite. No scientist can see an end to this man's wisdom coming in the future. That is why the Bible and the Holy Quran refer to him as the greatest and wisest of them all, and say that he will set up a kingdom, civilization that will live forever. The black man in America is not an example of the original man. The black man in America is not an example of the original black man, for he has been used by his slave masters for 4 centuries in what we call experimentation. Through the experimentation by the wicked slave masters who were made without love or mercy for black people, they have the black man in America before the world as a wrecked, robbed, and spoiled human being without knowledge of himself or anyone else. And he is used by the white man as a tool for whatever purpose the white man sees fit. He is called a Negro by them. The name means something dead, lifeless, neutral, not that nor this. They call a slave after their own names because he is the property of the slave master until he is redeemed, although he is a member of the original black nation. To restore him back to his people, he must be re-educated to give him the knowledge of self and the knowledge of those who deprived him of the knowledge of self. This knowledge of self will unite him unto his own kind with love and self and kind. And with that, we're going to close that chapter. I thank you for listening. I pray within and I work without that you continue to support our channel. Of course, they don't want this kind of information coming to you. So don't be surprised if they cancel the channel or whatever. Know what I mean? I have my own website. Make sure you go to www.noyreport.com. Make sure you personally email me at ministeralif@gmail.com. Send your questions, comments, and suggestions. Make sure you subscribe to this particular YouTube channel. Now, I mean, we busy. I do 1,000 things a day, but you know, I get it done. Now, I mean, you know, my life and my death and my service and my sacrifices has always been for our people. It's going to continue to be for our people. Until then, remember, only the messenger's message will guide us through this age of mess. The struggle continues, family. Peace and love.